Okay, so in our next video here, we're going to talk about lighting. How can we add light sources to our model? This again will really push the photorealism and really make this look like a just amazing rendering. So some things to think about with lighting. You could take the stance that you're only going to put lights where there actually are fixtures because you're obsessed with, making it real. That's one way to go about it. Here's how I go about it. I put light where I need light to make the image sort of make the image work how I want it to work. So if I am showing this to a client and I want to showcase this beautiful siding, yeah, maybe I'm going to put my spots up there in these fixtures, which I have. I'll definitely put that in there, but I might add some other lights just to sort of wash these walls with light to give them a little bit of a glow, a little bit more of an ambient glow. Sorry, tongue twister. So there, you might want to do things like that, and that's totally fine in rendering. You do not have to like make it perfectly real. It can be whatever you want it to be, and you can add whatever lights you feel would best showcase what it is you're trying to show. So how do we do that in Podium? We're going to talk about two light sources, a spotlight and a point light. So a spotlight, you all know what a spotlight is. It shines in some direction. And a point light is sort of imagine like a golf ball sphere just emitting light in all directions. So I'm going to put two spotlights here, one spotlight here, and then we'll do some point lights on the inside. Okay, so I have a couple tricks with spotlights. These three spots are basically in the same position. So it would be great that if I change the intensity on one, I could change the intensity on all of them, because I don't want to have to sit here and click between light and light and light to change its intensity. I have a couple tricks to do that, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's start with this fixture here. Here's what I like to do with spots. I like to sort of give myself some geometry to understand where I want it to sort of shine. So in this case, let's say I want my spotlight to shine. Let's see. I'm trying to get on this midpoint here. Let's see if I can get a normal line from the. So I can go straight down. I'm gonna go like down to here where like it hits something. And I want it to shine sort of like out a little bit, maybe to this edge, and then I want to make this like little triangle. I know that looks weird right now, but I just want to get some line work in that shows sort of the direction I want that spotlight to shine. I don't care so much about this back line or this line. It's mainly this one. Like, which way is that sort of white face facing? All right, that looks good. I mean, that's kind of where I want it to shine. This will help me. I only did that to help me sort of have something to click on. So let me click the light bulb. So here we are, Podium light system. So we have Omni Light and Spotlight. I want to make a spotlight, and let's go ahead and click Create right away, and then we'll go through these settings. I'm hit Create. Now it's asking me to click on something. So here's what I want to do. I want to click on this endpoint, and then I want to move it down a little bit because I don't want my light to get inside the light fixture, but I want to click down a little bit on the line I just drew. So I clicked once, now I'm going to click again, and now it's asking me, where do you want this light to point? So I'm going to click down on this line in the direction of this line. So I could click all the way down to the bottom of that line or anywhere on the line. It doesn't matter. This is where I want it to go. All right, there it is. See this weird little thing? Now let me move it down to show you exactly what it is. I'm just going to put it over here. I'm going to grab the end of it and put it right there. I'm going to delete this line because I'm done with that line. I just used it to sort of give it direction. But here's what a spotlight looks like in Podium. It's a square line with a vertical line normal to it. That's all it is. Okay, let me bring back that line I deleted. I'm going to place this again to show you how to do it. I want to create a spotlight. I'm going to click somewhere on this line. I'm going to click somewhere on this line again. And then I'm going to click somewhere on the line again. I know that sounds weird. But basically what that did was ensure that we are sort of pointed in the direction of this line we drew. And now I'll grab that sort of endpoint and I'll put it right there, right where that light sort of, just like that. So this looks like a good placement to me. I'm going to select this and I can give it a color right away. So I'm going to do like this pale yellow, and I'll do a power of, I think the default is 1. So let's just keep it at 1 for now. And I'm going to leave these outer and inner cone. I'm going to leave it for now. Okay. So what I want to do is just render this scene right here, just so we can see what this is doing. So I'm going to hit render. And let's do show. Okay, so here is that spotlight shining down. Now, we could play with, so that gives me a good idea of intensity. 1 looks good for now. I mean, maybe I want to bump that up, but maybe I'll do it later. But that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead. I'm going to close this, and let's do this at 65. Oh, come on. It's so weird sometimes. All right, 65. Go ahead and render that. There we go. See what that looks like. Okay, so it went a little wider than the previous rendering. So if I go to this other one, I'll just stop this one. Go this one. You can see, I actually think that one looked better. That's why I kind of leave the spotlight where it is. I mean, I don't like, there's really no need to change it. 45. And let's get this back to 15. That looks good. Okay. So there is 1 spotlight already set in. So here's the little trick that I like to do. If I grab this light and said, I can't do a make component right now because it's just a light. So if you do this, if I just add a little line onto it, okay, I don't care where that line's going, okay, I'm going to grab that line, that light, right click and say make component. And I'm going to call this spot light exterior and create. Now here's what's nice about that. I'm going to literally go ahead and just copy this component I just made and put it over here, because I know these are basically the same. Now this one's a little trickier because I need to rotate it 90 degrees, but that's not that big of a deal. So let me grab this. I'm going to go to copy. I'm going to put that one up here. And then I'm just going to rotate it about this surface 90. There we go. So now it should be shining down roughly where I want it to. So now all these lights are linked. So if I go in here and edit this one and grab that light, go to my light system panel here, I could say change it all to 2. And then I'm just going to, there's no like okay here, but I'm just going to click in space and then see if that worked. Now I'll hit render. So that looks pretty good. I got my spots in there. 2 looks fine. And I can double check that they are actually, if I go to this one, grab that, grab the system, and it's all set to 2. So that little line trick and component thing is just something, if you have a lot of lights, you can easily make it a component, and then you manipulate one, you manipulate them all, which is really nice. So I don't have to go 3 times to change the intensity on these lights. Here's another trick. If I go to extensions, SU Podium, and then go to tools and go to light fixture outliner, Can I make that smaller? No. Okay, so if I click this one, here it is right here. If I click this one, it's that one, this one, that one. I can literally go through this. Let me see what that. Okay, grab one of these lights, click this, change it, go to the next one, click this, change it, go to the next one, and so on. So you could go through the outliner to change all of your values for the intensity of the light, or you could do that little trick I just showed you. So let's say we're happy with those exterior lights, and now I need to get some nice point lights on the inside to sort of liven it up a little bit in there. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see if we can go to my tags. I'm just going to turn off the roof so I can see the inside. Probably be nice to get like 3 point lights going across the middle of the space. Now, this is the case where it's one of those lights that actually don't exist. There's no fixture I'm putting this into, but I just want the inside of my little cabin here to glow. So I'm going to go to light source. Now, one trick you could do is set up some line work to help guide you, or we can sort of guesstimate. So I'll do it freehand on this one. So I'm going to select Omni Light. I'm going to do that same color. I'll set the power to 1 for now, and I'll hit create. Now I'm going to line up with the middle of the door. I'm going to click once, bring my mouse down, and click again. And it'll put it right at the floor there. Now, the reason why I clicked on the door first was so that I could come right down the center of the space. So that's obviously not where I want it. So I want to move this point up 4 feet or so. So it's kind of in the middle. So there's an Omni light. Look how adorable that thing is. All right. I'm going to do the same technique I did before. I'm going to draw a little line on it. I'm going to grab it and I'm going to say make component. And I'll say interior point light. And now I'll copy this down 2 more times. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it 5 feet. And I'll do another one at 10 feet. Or I moved that one. Sorry. Let me copy that one down. Good. 5 feet. So now I've got 3 point lights, 5 feet apart, 4 feet high. They're all a component, so they're all linked. Okay, so I'm going to close this, turn on my roof, and let's go to, say, view 1. The sun's kind of low here. All right, I'm just going to hit render. Let's see what we got going on. Okay, so my exterior spotlights are looking pretty good. Not seeing much for the interior, so I can see that we already want to bump those up quite a bit. So let me close this. And I am going to just kind of go in my model here, go to one of those and do double click, grab the point light, hit this, and I'll put it at 10. Let's see what that does. Back to scene 1. Give this bad boy a render. I think we're going to get a different result here. Okay, now you're really starting to see the inside sort of glowing there. So that's looking pretty cool. Actually, don't mind that intensity. Yeah, maybe you could do a little more, but that's kind of getting at it right there. Now everything's sort of smoothing out too with my textures. But you kind of get the idea. You basically have this ability to get some reasonable, spotlights in there with a nice gradient. Maybe those even are a little intense and I want to dial those back a little. Also, you get some nice point lights in there to really bring that whole interior to life. So point lights, spotlights, and light emitting materials, those are really all you need to do something really cool with your SketchUp models. So the last thing I want to talk about, just to for you to sort of explore, is in the browser right now. just like there's tons of materials in here, there's also light sources. So let me go to the categories here and go light fixtures interior. They have exterior as well. Oh, let's pick an exterior one. Let's see what they have. Bunch of different lights to choose um, from like kind of wall sconces and things like that. Let's pick one of those. I'm going to put one, if you can kind of see my model back here, I'll put one on this surface just to see what this podium one does. How about this guy? So I'm going to hit download. Wow, that downloaded rather quick. And if I can just move this around, I'll put it right here. It looks huge, and it might be. But let's see what this one does. Now, what's cool about these is they come fully loaded. The light works. Everything's in it already. So there it is in the background, kind of shining up, shining down. Not that bright as compared to these, but you can at least see something there. Let's stop that. But what you could do then, so it looks like they have sort of a point light at the top and bottom. I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to hide this top piece. Oh, the light went with it. Go into the top piece, grab the light. Looks like they're using the same technique. It's all components as well. And this is set to 1. Let's set it to 5. Screw it. Yeah, 5. 5's good. And let's go ahead and render this. This might be blown out, but now I could also shrink the geometry of this thing down a little bit if it's like too big for my model. But look at that. That looks pretty cool. So I got a nice glow on the top, a nice glow on the bottom. I know things look a little different here and strange without my line work in, but we'll get that in. But just something so you know is that if I wanted sort of the lap siding of this wall to appear in this rendering, I could get it in there right now, but I would have to model it. So I would have to put an actual dimensional change from, say, this piece of lap to the next. So you would have to be able to see that 3-dimensionally for it to appear here. But because it's just a surface with lines, that's why we're not seeing any definition there. So I think the more accurately it's modeled, the cooler it'll look in the image. But there's little tricks we can do, like combine line work in Photoshop, which is where we'll head. So I think this looks good. So that's lighting in a nutshell. Use the browser, use these techniques to add your own spots. Just one quick thing. If I wanted to sort of set up a spotlight out here to shine down on it, I would do exactly the same technique I did in making this first spotlight. I like to at least say draw some line work up, like say, 20 feet. I want to shine down to this wall. So now I have some sort of reference to kind of go by. And now I can go and put a spotlight right up here, shine it this way, and then give it an intensity to make sure it hits where I want it to hit. So just a couple ideas for you there to get you rolling on adding lights to your SketchUp models through Podium.